Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm down at Jaguar of Greenville, where we get to take a look at their 2022 Jaguar F Pace S. So huge shout out to them for providing this SUV for me today. Make sure you guys check out their website. All that info is down in the description below. But the Jaguar that you see behind me is finished off in Fuji white with an MSRP just over $54,000. And to start off today's review, let's take a look at what powers this F Pace. Underneath the hood is the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission. It pumps out 246 horsepower and 269 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the all-wheel drive system. This weighs in right around 4,000 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 6.9 seconds with a top speed of 135 miles an hour, and it has a fuel capacity of 21.7 gallons. You'll expect to see around 22 miles per gallon in the city and 27 out on the highway. This has a wheelbase of 113.2 inches. Its overall length is 186.9. It has a width of 81.5, a height of 65.5, and its ground clearance measures in at 8.4 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this Jaguar F Pace, let's start off with the Jaguar badge front and center. This is also the forward-facing sensor for the adaptive cruise and all of that technology. So it's great that it's right in the middle so it doesn't break up the rest of this design, where there's plenty of cutouts to provide cooling to that turbocharged engine. This even has forward-facing sensors, more cutouts in the lower section of the bumper, and it even has LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals, which have a great design to them. I like how sleek the headlight housing is, and it's unique that the turn signal for the inner one is only about half of that lighting. The rest of it is the DRL. It's a full turn signal for that outer section. And this even has cutouts on both sides to provide even more aerodynamics. And this even has LED fog lights. They're at the very bottom of the bumper, where it's finished off in gloss black as part of the black appearance package. That is gloss black, as well as the surround for the grille. So it's a nice subtle design. There's some more gloss black bars on each side too, and nice lines that come down the hood, meeting the top section of this grille very nicely. So it starts from the A-pillar and goes straight down. There's a few bulges right in the middle of the hood to give it more of a distinctive design for this SUV. Now, as we move on to the side, this model has a great set of 20-inch wheels finished off in gloss black. There's the Jaguar logo with a trim piece just behind that front tire too. There's more black in the lower section. This even has body colored side mirrors with the integrated turn signal along with a camera and the full panoramic sunroof. There's black roof racks too. All of the window trim is blacked out. There's great lines running just behind that trim piece too, and subtle lines running down the side to give it a great design, especially with that steeply raked rear glass. And then finishing up in the rear, this has a body colored spoiler. There's more gloss black in the undersection of it, as well as it having the third brake light. Wiper blade is mounted in the lower section to give the driver better visibility out of that window. This has LED taillights, backup camera right in the middle. The Jaguar badge is blacked out. All the parking sensors are down in the gloss black section of the bumper, and this even has a towing capacity right around 2,000 pounds. When properly equipped, it's closer to 5,000 pounds. So there's a few different engine options just depending if you need those capabilities. And with the exterior wrapped up, let's move on to the cargo. So I can push this button on the key fob and the power liftgate will automatically open up, providing you with a lot of interior storage. There's a storage net over on this driver's side, as well as a hook. Over on the left side, there's a few other hooks, as well as some dome lights. And when you lift up the floor, this has a spare tire along with a little bit more storage. So you can utilize that if you need to, but it's great that it has the spare. And the back seats also fold down. They have a 40-20-40 split. With them down, that gives you a lot more interior storage if you need to use it. And with the power liftgate, there is a grab handle on each side if you need to use it. But if I push on that button, it will automatically close. And now we can make our way to the back seats, where you can lock and unlock this SUV using the door handle, which makes it a lot more practical. And this model has a great interior. I love the wood trim surrounding the brushed aluminum release handle. This even has the Meridian sound system, more leather surrounding the grab handle. There's brushed aluminum on the release handle, another speaker in the lower section, and a little bit of storage. It's a beautiful classic interior for this Jaguar. And then as we move on to the interior, very nice seats. I love this color, matches nicely, of course, with that exterior white. And at 5'10", I can work my way into the back seats. A little bit of a door sill that you do have to step up and over, but there's a net behind both front seats if you need to use those. There's also 2 air vents, a little bit of storage right in the middle, and there's even a 12 volt on one side so you can charge electronics. I have plenty of room for my feet and my legs and a little bit of space above my head, so it's pretty practical for your backseat passengers. Now right in the middle there is an armrest where I can pull this down. There's 2 cup holders if you need to use those. And then we can get a look at visibility out of the rear glass. A little bit of a pillar right there, but we have that extra window so that way you can see around it from the driver's seat. This has a moonroof like I mentioned. Grab handles are in all 4 corners. The dome lights are on each side too. And so with the back wrapped up, let's move on to these front seats where the door panels finish off just like the rear with the addition of the window controls, side mirror adjustments. All of those controls are hidden right now. When you start this up, those will light up. So it's great to see that. There's more storage space in the lower section. Jaguar is also spelled out on the door sill. And then we have the same design for these front seats. Well, let's work our way into the interior. It's much easier to enter and exit the front seats. The door opens up very wide, so it is easy to enter and exit. Now this steering wheel has a great 2-tone design to it with the black and the white leather. Steering wheel mounted paddle shifters have a good design, finished off in brushed aluminum. And like I mentioned with those door controls, all these controls are hidden, so we need to start this up in order to use those. With my foot on the brake, that button is over on the right side. We can bring this to life. And looking at the gauge cluster, on the left side is the miles per hour, on the right side is the tach, and then right in the middle for this LCD screen, you can use the controls over on the left side of the steering wheel. Currently there's Bluetooth and voice commands on the upper section, a favorites button in the lower section. The rotary dial in the middle will go through that info along with the arrows. You can also use those arrows to scroll through the radio. And then over on this right side is the heated steering wheel along with the cruise and adaptive cruise and the lane keeping assist. So using that dial on the left side, currently it's showing miles per hour and what gear you're in. If I push down on that rotary dial, you'll see the heads-up display pop up, so you can go through all of that information just depending on what you like to see. If I scroll back up to that setting now and use the dials on both sides, I can go over to vehicle, look at any tire information, any warnings that may appear. There's also music, there's trip information to monitor all of that. Even the info panel, so you can go through the speedometer, your driver assistance, look at the map, trip summary, all of that information. And then if I go over one more time to the right, there's the heads-up display. So it's nice to have all of that usable information front and center. And then over on the left side of the steering wheel, you can open up and shut the rear liftgate. There's also a dimmer switch for the gauges. More of that leather, wood trim, and brushed aluminum. Now this does have a heads-up display. It's showing miles per hour right now and what gear the vehicle is currently in. There's 2 air vents right in the middle and this massive touchscreen system just underneath that. Over on the lower left is the home button. So it shows you with these icons like navigation, phone, and media. You can scroll over, look at energy impact along with your driving style. So it's nice to have all of those displayed nicely for this home screen. On this left side is also navigation. So you can pull that up in full screen. There's music for your phone as well as radio. And then pushing on those buttons will pull up even more icons. You can go through the camera system, valet mode, climate controls, even the low traction launch. If we go into the cameras, however, though, we can pull up the 3D camera system like I mentioned earlier. If you just push on some of these camera icons, it will show you a few different settings. You have on-road, you even have a towing mode. So if you do have a trailer hooked up, you can see that camera angle. So there's really nice graphics for that camera system. Not a whole lot of information, but the screen is very easy to use and provides you with everything that you need. Working our way below that, we have a lot of controls for the climates. Now what I love about these rotary dials is they're multifunctional. So as you can tell, it says push for the seats, there's the fan icon, and it says pull next to that. So if I push this, we can control the heated and ventilated seats just by rotating this dial. If I pull it out one, now we have the fan speed, and if I push back on it, there's the temperature. It's the same with the passenger dial too, so it's great to see how configurable those 2 dials are. There's more controls right in the middle for sync and auto. If I push on the seat button over on the left side, that will pull up a diagram for the heated and ventilated seat. You can turn those on and off or use that dial, so just another way to do it. Where you'd like the air to go is over on that right side, and there's some defrosters too. Working our way below that is a wireless charging pad, so you can place your phone there along with any other items you may have. Behind the engine start stop button is volume for the radio. And then with the shifter, the release is on the front. If I push that and push the shifter all the way forwards, that is for reverse, where you will see the backup camera appear. I can go down into drive, and then pulling on it one more time without using that release will go into sport mode, allowing you to use these paddle shifters. And then park is just by pushing on that button. Now over on the right side, if I push on this dial, it will automatically pop up. So in the gauge cluster, we can go through comfort. There's also dynamic. If I scroll back over to the right, we can go into eco mode. There's even rain, ice, and snow. So just depending on how you'd like to drive that, you can quickly pull those up. It will also change in the center screen, just depending on the mode that you're in, to pull up any information when you have that selected, if you want to activate the low traction launch. And then to hide that away, simply just push it down. Now behind that, if I open up this tray, there are 2 cup holders, a little bit of storage. There's some on this left side along with a 12 volt, and then I can easily hide that out of the way. Right in the middle is a pretty deep compartment with some auxiliaries on the back section, so you can place items there if you need to. And up underneath all of these controls, this goes all the way through to the passenger side, so you can place in items there if you need to, which is really nice. The glove box also has an ample amount of room for all that information. And we'll take one last look at this interior. Has a great design to it. Like I mentioned earlier, this does have the full moonroof, so by using the control up in the middle, I can open up that sunshade. It goes all the way to the back seats, providing a lot of light. There's also the touch sensitive dome lights up top, as well as the sunshade adjustments. And I just noticed too that the center armrest can be slid in forwards or backwards, just to give you a little bit more comfort while driving. As we get behind the wheel now for this 2022 Jaguar F Pace S, this has been a very cool SUV to check out. For the price point too, it's really not all that expensive compared to the average price that Americans are paying for vehicles now. So this is really obtainable for most people. It's a little bit of a stretch for that average, but if you want to get into something nice, this is a very luxurious Jaguar for the price. I love all the materials. On this particular spec too, we have the smaller engine. So we're going to test that out by putting this into the S mode. That allows us to activate these paddle shifters, and I can see in the gauge cluster there what gear we're in. And from second gear, it gets up and moves. It's a peppy engine. Now you can get some other engine options if you want even more power, but if this is all you're looking for, if you're not really towing much, when it's properly equipped, you can tow up to around 5,000 pounds. So this is realistically going to see maybe 2,000 pounds or so, a smaller trailer if you need to hook up something like that. But it's going to be a little bit more MPG efficient with this smaller engine. And I think for the weight, it has plenty of power. These paddle shifters are super responsive too. And I love the size of them. This is a great driving vehicle. I love how comfortable it is so far. And there's no noise. It's very, very soothing to drive, as you would expect for a Jaguar. All the way down into second gear. Visibility, like I mentioned earlier, even with that pillar in the back, you can see around it. So you get that cool kind of fastback design with this SUV, but it doesn't really hinder visibility. That window is pretty large for your backseat passengers there, so I can see around there. I can look over my left shoulder. And as we come up to a sharp left, we can give this another acceleration, drop down to a second gear. For an SUV, it's not performance oriented to take turns very fast, but with a mild acceleration, personally, I think it could be quicker, so you can opt for a bigger engine if you'd like to. But a mild acceleration, we're up to speed. Doesn't feel like it's having to fight to get that weight up to speed. Just a nice gradual acceleration. And as we switch over to the POV angle, we'll put it back into sport mode. And even around these twisties, wow. That handled very, very good for that tight situation. Now, I wasn't going at a fast rate of speed, but with the all-wheel drive system, you can feel this carry its weight around that turn. So it does have some good handling characteristics to it, taking it around turns like this. Obviously not a big deal going at a normal rate of speed. But if you can tell from this angle, from the inside, it is very quiet. So if we were merging into traffic right now, we are up to speed. Like I mentioned earlier, very, very nice. Quick look at visibility from this angle, so you can see over that shoulder. and then over the left shoulder. I think this is a great option. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, just being above the normal average price for a brand new vehicle, you can get into a Jaguar. This is a dream car for somebody, and at that price point, you can definitely make that happen. This is a great model. I've always loved the exterior designs, and now that I'm driving one, I can see why these are nice. It's a Jaguar. It's going to drive and ride very, very nicely. But we will do one last acceleration for today's review. And up to speed, just like that. I hope you enjoyed today's walk around review and test drive behind the wheel of this 2022 Jaguar F Pace S. Once again, huge shout out to Jaguar of Greenville for providing this luxurious SUV for me today. Be sure to check out their website. That link is down in the description below. Give the video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.